Feds charged an ex-boxer, Goran Gogic, with trafficking $1 billion worth of the white powder known as cocaine. Which, this is probably one of the craziest side hustles I've ever seen. Like, to traffic $1 billion worth of this stuff is just crazy. A former heavyweight boxer from Montenegro was charged with trafficking 22 tons of cocaine worth more than $1 billion from Colombia to Europe via the U.S., federal prosecutors said this week. Goran Gogic, 43, was arrested Sunday night while trying to board a flight to Zurich from Miami International Airport after being indicted by a grand jury in New York, according to the Department of Justice. The charges against the ex-bruiser stem from the seizures of 22 tons of cocaine found on three commercial cargo ships in February, March, and June of 2019. In the June 19, 2019 raid, law enforcement found 19.8 tons of the drugs on the MSC Guyane while it was docked at Philadelphia's Packer Avenue Marine Terminal, marking one of the largest seizures of cocaine in U.S. history, according to the feds. And prosecutors said between May 2018 and July 2019, the conspirators transported coke to Europe from Colombia through American ports, using cranes and nets at night to hoist drugs onto cargo ships from approaching speedboats along the ship's routes. The complex operation required knowledge of each ship's crew, route, and location data, and that there was room to store drugs in shipping containers that were already aboard, prosecutors said. The drug trafficking ring allegedly used a different set of workers with access to the ports in Europe to secretly the cocaine from shipping containers upon their arrival. According to court papers, Gogic oversaw the logistics, coordinating with crew members, Colombian traffickers, and European dock workers to benefit himself and his Balkan-based cartels. Gogic, whose pro boxing career spanned more than a decade, was charged with 3 counts of violating the Federal Maritime Drug Law Enforcement Act and 1 count of conspiracy. Each count carries a mandatory minimum 10-year prison term and possible life sentence. Gogic, who was described as a sophisticated drug trafficker by NYPD Commissioner Keechant Sewell, was jailed after briefly appearing in court in Miami on Monday, his lawyer said. Another detention hearing is scheduled for November 7th. These charges came as a surprise to him. He maintains his innocence and had come to the U.S. for a boxing convention in Puerto Rico, attorney Lawrence Hashish said in a statement. In a statement, U.S. Attorney Breon Peace in Brooklyn called Gogic's arrest and indictment a resounding victory for law enforcement. Lawrence Hashish, Gogic's attorney, the lawyer for Gogic, said these charges came as a surprise to him. He maintains his innocence and had come to the U.S. for a boxing convention in Puerto Rico. At least 8 Guyane crew members have pleaded guilty to conspiracy charges. According to online records, Gogic, a native of Pejivla, I don't even know how to pronounce that, Montenegro, was a heavyweight boxer from 2001 to 2012, winning 21 bouts and losing 4 with 2 draws in 27 career matches. The thing is, you really gotta wonder, when is enough enough, right? What makes people keep going and keep going to the point where they are basically starting going down the path of pure criminal action? Why are people just not stopping and enjoy their life? If you were a pro boxer and you had 27 fights as a pro boxer, you probably made some good money, right? If you were good with your money, which this guy doesn't seem like a moron based off the skill set needed to actually be able to manage all this, you'd think that he'd be good enough with his money to not need to do anything like this. So what drives an individual like this to have to go for more, right? Like, for example, if you stumble upon this, let's say that legally you made like $2 million after taxes. Would you be tempted to do something not legal to make more money after that point? To me, no. Like, why would I go and risk my life doing something that's illegal when I've already made all the good money legally with no issues, no problems, living a good life? Why would I go down that path? So, like, why would people go down this path when they were successful for a decade and end up doing this, right? Or is this like a situation where he's always been doing things like this? Like his whole life, he's been in, you know, allegedly part of this whole cartel situation. Like, it's kind of like the whole billionaire complex where some people are basically destined to be billionaires because they don't have that stop in them. Like they're always going to strive for more and more and more and more and more nonstop. But still, I mean, to me, it's like the same thing with like, say you were to win the lottery. Let's say you won like $10 million. Would you be tempted to do something bad to make more money, even though you've already have 10 million in the bank? Like, would you? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, at all. At all. Like, I don't get why people need to try to strive for more instead of being just content with what they actually already have, because what they already have is pretty good, right? Like, another example that could probably be used, right, is a UFC fighter called TJ Dillashaw, right? I think he's still a fighter. Well, he made millions of dollars as a fighter, won the championship, but decided to break UFC's rules and took an illegal substance to basically try to get an edge to get down in weight to fight a lower weight opponent to get a belt when he already had a belt and he already had millions of dollars made, right? Why risk everything that you've built up doing it the right way to just try to get the next thing when you should have just be content, right? Like, just be content. Is that so hard to do? Just be happy where you are right now. Is that so hard? Yes, there's nothing wrong with wanting to like improve your life. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you can't be content now, you are never going to be content in the future, no matter where you are at in the future, and that could lead you down a very bad path. So just try to be grateful for the situation that you are in and that you're not in a worse situation.